What's up, Nuggets? Deltia from deltiasgaming.com, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to craft gear for the Elder Scrolls Online. We're going to be working on blacksmithing, clothing, and woodworking combined to make all the gear in the game possible, and then we'll elaborate on specific things in later videos. If you want to know how to craft basic gear in Elder Scrolls Online, this is the video for you. Let's get started. So we're here in the Earth Forge, home of the Fighters Guild, one of the coolest crafting places in existence in Tamriel. And so the general recipe for crafting is generally the same, whether you're using blacksmithing, clothing, or woodworking. You need material, you need a style, which changes your appearance, material, which basically determines what level of equipment you can get, and then also a trait if you want to use them, which is kind of like an enhancement to your armor. You're also going to need to find the station that is your particular profession. Obviously a blacksmithing station. Here we go up. Woodworking and clothing are up top. You'll become very, very familiar with these appearances as they become more and more familiar to you. If you're not very familiar with them, you can actually click on individual towns and go in here and you can highlight different areas and they'll tell you if they have a vendor. So it'll say the crafting station's here, that big crafting mark. You're not used to that, you can go to keys, so on and so forth. So that's basically how you tell which is your crafting station. So I'm going to go into detail on all these topics. I want to touch on them briefly. On top to bottom, left to right, you have refine. What this is you get materials out in the world and then you refine them or smelt them at a blacksmithing station to create usable products that you can use to make gear. Also, through the refining process, you have a chance to make really cool or get really cool items that you're used to improve. So improvement is simply making the same item that you have better. So it's like something from Skyrim or something else. If you improve this Dominion sword, let's say it does 1220 damage, and you put some of these blue pieces in here, you're actually going to make it better. And you can improve it all the way to legendary. I'll go over improving later in another video, but improving is a big part of making your gear optimal. So you have refine, gives you materials, and gives you improvement components. You have creation. This is where you make the gear. Now the tab up here is a couple different things. You have set weapons, sets. There's sets and there's not sets. So basically sets are specific crafting stations throughout Tamriel that hold specific value and give you different bonuses for how many pieces of armor you wear. I'll have complete huge detailed information on that, but for instance, this has a cool bonus that decreases time an ally, resurrection an ally by 25%. So if you're a Templar with the passives, that's cool. But you also don't have to make that. You can make non-set items, and that's the exact same axe that would be at just a normal crafting station. So I hope you're following along. I know this is a lot to take in. So you have the normal axes, and then you have three little things here: material, style, and trait. Just what I was talking about. Materials found in the world, I'm going to show you that in this video. And then you go left to right depending on what levels you want. And the levels and the amount of iron you put into them vary the level. So watch the iron axe. As they put more and more iron into it, it becomes higher and higher level. So eventually I can't make anything with this iron, so I have to go to steel, so on and so forth. And so steel, orchulum, dwemer, ebon, calcinium, gallantite, quicksilver, and then of course voidstone makes the last materials in the game. So that's how you determine which level, is by the style you collect. The actual material in or around your level will be, basically if you're in a level 20 zone, you're going to find material that you can refine at or around that level. So as you progress in the game, you'll find more and more relevant material for your level. Or you can skip ahead or go back and refine and craft and basically go farm nodes, which I'll show you later. Style. What style is purely cosmetic. So as I change this here, the axe appearance actually changes. So there's some very sought after, awesome ways to get cool looking styles and so forth. That'll be a whole nother video, but just know that the style is fundamentally, just for appearance sake. So that's how you get that. You get these pieces from basically a lot of different things. From refining, you can loot them off of bosses, crates, a bunch of different things. And then also you get these books with the style material, so you unlock more and more styles. So it's a cosmetic thing, but it's a really fundamental part of crafting. And you're going to want to have a lot of styles because some of them are really, really cool. Traits. Now what a trait does is enhances your weapon or armor somehow. So as I move over on these traits, reduces the cooldown of weapon enchantment. Charge, increases the number of charges. Weapon or spell critical. Infuse, makes your enchantment on your weapon better. Defending, so armor and spell resistance. Training, sharpened, weighted, and then Nirnhone, which I don't have yet. This is a really integral part of making high-end gear, though you don't have to have any traits. So you can make this weapon without traits. How do you get traits? You find things out in the world, and then you deconstruct them. You basically sacrifice them to learn the specific trait. So as you're picking up gear throughout the world, if you haven't learned a specific trait, start deconning them so you can learn it. And that's through the researching process. I had this little chart here that I like to use, and it goes through and tells you, what you're learning, and then I'll have a research. The more traits you know, the longer it takes to learn. I'll have another video on traits later. Just know that in the creation process, you have the type of weapon, you have the material that varies the range, this varies the passives that you can use, and the style is just purely cosmetic, and the trait is a little bit an enhancement. So let me show you how to actually go about doing all of these things and gathering the material. Alright, we're riding around Cragorn, and I want to show you what these various nodes look like and how you basically pick up materials needed for crafting. I'm going down here to get the coveted Columbine, use it for alchemy. So notice that these items here, the further away I am, there's no glow. The closer I get, there's a little glow. There's a reason for that. Each of these crafting professions have their own skill line, and there's a really handy thing you can use passively that optimizes if you can find these materials, and that's Keen Eye. I like alchemy. I put 3 points into this because I really, really like plants and want to see them very easy, and they're very hard to find. But even blacksmithing, clothing, woodworking, I highly recommend when you're starting out in the game to at least put 1 point into these. Reason being is you're not going to know what all these nodes look like offhand. After you've played the game for a long time, it becomes very, very easy. So the materials that you find needed to craft are actually just around the world, just like this, nightwood. This is the end game material for woodworking. All you do is come up with it, interact with it, right here, void bloom. That's for clothing. And the same with, you'd find an ore node for blacksmithing, but there's also one little caveat, and that's medium armor. Medium armor is used from like leather and scraps found from animal hides. So the only thing you need to do with medium is actually kill stuff. That could be bad or good depending on your point of view. But like these little hyenas here and some other types of creatures actually give you materials, but you have to kill them first. So let's kill these poor jackals. I know. They're little cute critters. But we need our hide. I'm making a video. Now I'm a tank, so yes, it takes a while. Okay, got our little jackals down. And you see the bottom right, shadow hide scraps. So in order to get the stuff you need for medium, you have to kill the animals at or around the levels that you need it for. This is what the enchanting looks like. These are alchemy plants. This is what the unrefined material looks like for clothing, medium, and then we haven't found a iron node, but they're basically the same sort of thing. There's a lot of woodworking, and this becomes very valuable later in the game, and here's why. All this material that I'm wearing, this is for one of my new builds, PvP, I'm going to be showcasing here pretty soon, but to upgrade it costs so much gold. For instance, to get one tempering alloy is around 4,000 gold. To upgrade this to legendary quality, you're looking at 8 tempering alloy, 4 grain solvent, 3 of the other stuff, and then 2 greens. One piece of legendary gear might cost you 50,000 gold just to improve it, not make it, not find it, not buy it, or anything else. So in order to get that right away, and save a lot of time and money, finding these nodes and refining it is a good way of finding and getting the needed material for improving, which I'm going to go over later. So that's how you get the material you need, the style and stuff that you actually use to make the color or your style choice is in crates inside of basically anything. So let me go show you what we can do as far as getting that material, and that's really all you need before you start crafting. Alright, so we're in the tavern here in Belkarth, the city in Craglorn, with the lovely Petronios Lebo, singer extraordinaire. Okay, maybe not so much. But realistically, all you need to do to get the other needed pieces in order to craft is just loot stuff. Now, before you loot stuff, know that things inside of buildings typically are, property of someone else. And with the justice system, you can't just take everything like you used to be able in the game. But for instance, you can actually click on it, and as long as you don't actually click the R key, you're not going to get flagged as a criminal. If you put your mouse over the item, it tells you what it's used for. An ingredient for crafting beverages. So we know that's provisioning. So if we needed rice, we'd grab it. And then you go make your way from barrel to barrel to barrel. Rye, don't need that. Yeast, provisioning once again. Ginger, provisioning. Guarana, that's like a sugar, I think. Pocket knife, ooh, that's kind of valuable. And then you just go from this to this to this. Also, creatures have a chance of dropping this as well. We're striking out on the materials. There's some chance for getting rare materials like Daedra Hearts and Ancient Elf depending on the zone that you're in. So looting everything is still very relevant even at endgame. Don't mind me, I'm going to take this nightstand in front of you. I'm not taking anything, just checking on it. Just checking. Honey. More provisioning stuff. Lemon. But we actually got some materials from killing those critters outside earlier. Let me show you what that looks like. If you go to your inventory, this is Inventory Grid View add-on that I have right here. Makes it really handy for sorting through a bunch of different materials. But this is the normal setup. So if you want to do some searches, you can use Advanced Searcher add-on, Advanced Filter, and then go to Materials. Here in Advanced Filter, you have another set of things down here. So if you wanted to know what style traits you have, or styles in here, this is what it is. Put your mouse over it, it tells you what you can craft. Remember that everyone, no matter what character you create, can craft their own style. So if you rolled a Nord, you can craft Nord. If you rolled a Khajiit, you can craft Khajiit. You can't craft any others until you actually find the lore books, or buy it in the Crown Store, one of the two. So it looks like we have tons of material to craft a bunch of stuff. That's not a problem. We have weapon traits, so these are the stones that you actually need to craft a weapon, and then we have traits. So we have a bunch of them. The cool thing about Elder Scrolls Online is you have a shared bank, so you do not need to have all the materials on you. In fact, that's where I keep almost all of my crafting materials, because I have stockpiles and stockpiles of it just playing the game throughout the year. So let's actually go craft something now. Alright, we're still in lovely Belkarth, and it's time to actually put all this material to work and craft something super simple, but just to show you how it's done. So first off, if you don't know where you're going, open up your map with the M key, and then kind of go to the town's little icons and put your mouse over it. Blacksmithing station. You're going to soon realize which icons are which nodes or wherever you can craft. If you don't know, click the key in your map, and we'll show you some little helpful information so you actually can find out where the crafting node is. Once you get to the crafting node, it looks a lot like Skyrim if you played that game. And it has, once again, refine, create, decon, improve, and research. So if you just started the game, you found some cool items, start your research early. Now the best thing I can suggest on this before giving away all my secrets of the research is get one from each thing. You can only research 3 at a time with the max skill points, but don't research daggers fully because it's going to take a long time. Get one research going on daggers, one on great swords, one on mauls. More on that later. So we're going to go on the creation tab. Let's say I just started playing this game and I need a sword. So I'm going to go to sword. I've already hit level 10. I got the iron ingots that I need because I refined them earlier in the video. So I'm going to make it level 10. Reason being, I get more damage. So that's why you want it level 10. And the value goes up in case you do want to sell it. I'm a Nord, and that's pretty much the only style I know since I just started the game. And then let's say I learned a trait overnight, which was precise. Increase weapon and spell critical value. All you do is simply hit craft. Iron sword created. We go in our inventory, and boom, we got a little handy iron sword. So you can do this right away. And in fact, you don't need to invest any skill points into crafting until you want to craft higher level gear. So if you go to blacksmithing here, metalworking is a passive that allows you to use more and more progressive ingots. But if you start out, you can make level 1 through 14 gear, I think, right away. So if you just start this game on consoles or you're coming back to it, feel free to test out crafting. All you need, once again, is materials. So you need the actual metal, you need a style, and a trait if you're going to use it. And that is basically the simplest form of crafting. So what I want to do is expand on this in the next couple of videos, talking more about traits, talking more about researching, and talking more about improving and how I go about optimizing my crafting, and especially researching. I think that's what we're going to cover next, so that way you guys can get a head start when consoles launch, and you can be the master crafter with only in a few months. Thank you for watching. More in Crafting Corner later.